Yeah, I feel like you don't need any introduction, but as everybody knows, yeah, you've been one of the core three mentors that I always cite, and part of my journey. You, Nicholas, Joseph, and coming through the Maverick Next program changed my life, like literally. And growing up in business throughout that, it was always this philosophy of evolved enterprise, impact, profit, aligned with you, what you really want to truly do. And yeah, so it's been very special to see your art expand and evolve through the different variations, with the um, oracle cards and the cosmic journal and all these different things. And one of the things that I really feel like is a unique factor of you is it's bloomed into this ecosystem where they're all related and it's they're all living there. It's not like they're fragmented or scattered, it's like it's breathing life into this ecosystem. So yeah, with the cosmic vision exercise that we have today, I think it's really special for us, as I was sharing with everybody, is like effortless impact. How do we find the organic connections, the organic path that's not forced? And so the cosmic vision allows us to see that. And the last thing I'll just say before passing off to you is our card for today, um, that was chosen, is wave.
I'm laughing because I pulled the card before this, and I'm like, all right, which one is it? And I was like, is it my left hand or right hand? And I'm like, I think it's on the left hand. I'm not sure. And then I couldn't quite tell which one intuitively it was. So I'll be interested to see if that one pops up too in this other exercise that we have. But in the one that I didn't first pick, which was in my other hand, which I kind of felt like it was the great wave. Your great wave awaits. So I'm like, okay, we're in the right spot. And yeah, I that that's, I mean, all of them are really special. That one's a really special one too, just because your great wave really represents like what is your greatest work, especially something that maybe scares you a little or a lot. And that's where the universe really wants to co-conspire with you and be an ally. And that's where we can really lean into, and all of us are here for this great shift that's happening, obviously, or else you wouldn't be connected to Sebastian, and all of us wouldn't be having the experiences that we're having and be kind of have the pull that we're having to really show up in this big way. And especially art. Like I think art and play are interconnected, and not in a whimsical way even, but truly like what gets us so joyful. And it feels, I have that aspect of playfully, purposefully, profitfully, and playfully feels like being fully utilized. And the great wave is this growing cosmic consciousness, really, of what's showing up. So I got a couple slides for us today, and we're gonna actually we'll do a workshop. It'll be interactive, and we're gonna be talking about the cosmic vision. So let me just pull this up here, and all right. So the cosmic expanded. This is actually the very first time that I've shared this, so I'm excited to go through it with you. It's been at least 10 years in the making of these downloads that I've gotten, and I keep getting, I think, more and more distinctions on it. So start with kind of the big picture, which is where we're all here in this great wave that we're feeling. And it's a lot of people believe that time is linear and it just goes in one direction. But many different civilizations looked at time in this very circular way, especially the Mayans, and we have the Indian Yugas here. But a lot of people have heard of like the Golden Age, which was like this age of like superheroes, and then there was a Silver Age and Bronze Age and Iron Age, and this like is there's cycles within cycles, and this really is the big picture that's happening right now, because we're in, if you think about like day and night, 24 hours, 12 hours of darkness, 12 hours of light, approximately, depending on the time here. Then you got the seasons, and you got these other bigger cycles. And the Mayans were tracking 13 calendars for a reason, and their biggest one was like 5,920 years. And so I bring all that up because we are in this period of ascending consciousness, which is really exciting. And I think that's also why we all showed up here. Not showed up here like on the Zoom, but showed up here like on the planet, and for what we're doing. And that's part of this cosmic vision, and bringing that down. So that's where we are in the big story. And if we think about that almost like in three acts, where it started with unity, then there's separation, and then the third act is returning to source. And we're in this and almost like this constant sort of spiral up that's happening. So here's the blueprint that we're going to be talking about the entire time today, which is in the middle is the earth. And that's our big reason why, whatever that is for each of us. Then on the bottom right are seeds, on the left are suns, and then on the top are blooms. So seeds, suns, and blooms. And I have a little cartoon for you, which is you got the earth here. It says, thanks for joining the party. And earth is the soil for our greatest work. And how? It's by planting seeds, and seeds that are planted in this soil are education, training, info, multimedia, art, music, books, speeches, content. That's really your gift that's shared. And all these seeds actually have a higher level of evolved intention for the world and a new way of doing business. So that's our seeds planted. And then the seeds, the suns nourish those seeds. And this notion of how do we light 1,000 suns, and the suns nourish those seeds, and the suns are the communities that we're building, and through transformative experiences, ceremony, maybe impactful retreats, epic experiences, all that. And then lighting the 1,000 suns, you're to ignite nourishes all the seeds planted. And you don't need to know even which seed will find the exact right leader or person or individual who's been eagerly waiting for exactly what you teach, share, or provide. It's your job just to create the conditions for the seeds to bloom. And then we have our blooms. So you want to harvest your blooms, and the blooms are those byproducts, those infinite byproducts. They're the projects, ideas, joint ventures, learnings, new opportunities, new ventures, experiments, collabs, and you never know where these ripples of impact will just continue blooming and blooming and blooming. So seeds, suns, and blooms. So all of this is based on nature, really. I think nature is our greatest teacher. And you look at, little seedling into a small tree, a growing tree, a mature tree with fruit, right? The fruit then contains the seeds. And again, we get, this cycle, this infinite model that just continues going. And as Sebastian said, like this organic way of thinking. So it's not like an ascension model where we start with like, our one low price thing, and then we move up and we have our, the tripwire and all the things. Like we don't, I think we can just take our lessons from nature, and there's all these different ecosystems that you can be thinking about. And you have literally, you can learn from everywhere if you're open and aware to it. I think of it a lot as a reef, because a reef has some of the most greatest biodiversity in the ocean, and even like dead sea animals become the food for other animals, and become the food for the coral, and then the coral grows, and so it's like this beautiful like interconnected ecosystem. And this has been one of my favorite pictures of a vision. I guess it could be labeled a cosmic vision. I don't know. But, I do think that when you get this divine inspiration, it is a cosmic vision. And this is Walt Disney's way that he thought about everything all being interconnected. And this was from 1957. This is the way that he tried to sell all these bankers on what they were going to do with the Walt Disney Company, where how they're all interconnected, how they feed each other, how it's like the reef, right? Like it's all this interconnected way of being, this ecoverse. And the funny thing is that pretty much no banker said yes to it. It took his brother Roy Williams, who's a little more sort of tactical and business focused, to be like, all right, well, here's what we're gonna do, and he was able to raise the money. But if you look at it now, this is exactly what happened. Like this is exactly the vision, and how they're all interconnected. It makes it even stronger. So super, super powerful. So this is a company that I love. They're up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. A guy named Ari Weinswig is one of the co-founders of it, and we've taken people there a couple times, up to Zingerman's, and he has a couple great books and other training that they do at zingtrain.com. And so originally they started as a deli, and the deli was doing incredibly well, and they're doing like $8 or $9 or $10 million, like this tremendous amount per square foot out of the deli. And his partner's like, hey, so Ari, what do we need to do? Like, should we grow? Do we want to franchise? Do we want to license? Do we want to, open up another location? And like, what should we do? And he's like, I don't know. I just gotta, we got to get ready for lunch. He's like, no, we got to talk about this. And so at some point they created their vision of what they wanted to do. And he's actually one of the two people that is really interesting. So Cameron Herold, who some of you might probably know or seen his stuff. He has a great book called Vivid Vision. And then Ari has this other one. They never met until I introduced him. And he has a whole visioning process. And it's really, really powerful. And part of that visioning process was he's like, I really like, we can create our own rules. That's the other thing that I really love that he's given me permission to do, and all the other people that I've studied. It's like we get to make our own rules. And so his vision was like, I only want one of each. I don't want to expand. I want, a unique thing. And his partner's like, well, we're losing all our great leaders. And he's like, well, what if we had this interconnected community of businesses? So they call it ZCOB, Singerman's Community of Businesses. And I highly recommend going to Zing Train and buying some of his books, especially the first one. It's called Lapsed Anarchist's Guide to Building a Great Business. And it talks about visioning and talks about his whole process. And it's just really amazing. So then the first thing that they did was they started a bakery. And it was all this interconnected way because the bakery had key partners who were just in charge of baking. And because before that, they would drive about an hour each day to Detroit to find the best bread for their deli. And then so they were like, all right, well, we could have, this bakery bake all the stuff. And actually we would buy all of it from our deli. And then like 40% would go out wholesale to other places. So they were their own best customer. And then they would, and go out wholesale. And then they started like the creamery and the candy manufacturing and a mail order company, and then even like a training organization that would train all the other subsidiary units, and then also outside, like us, like we brought people there before, and other businesses show up there to get trained in the way that they think about culture and visioning and all these other things, open book finance, and so it's just really amazing to see, because this is this very beautiful interconnected ecoverse that is. He thinks of everything in terms of like organic gardening. So it's not monocropping. It's about like the healthiest ecosystems are the ones that are most diverse, and they're a little messy, actually a lot messy sometimes. And he's very open about this, where they have their obviously core values, what they think about, and he's like, when you're out of integrity a little bit on them, then it's like, okay, we have use those, come back into it. But having this community of businesses is a little bit of a messy process, because each of them actually pay into like shared services, which are HR and legal and marketing and all these things. So it's a beautiful process, but it is a little messy, but it's a great model of how this can work. And again, create your own rules for what it is. So this is some of the very, very first sort of doodles I had in my own journal about thinking about, what did I want to do in this ecosystem that I was sort of being inspired by, and what could that look like? And so you can see here, it says like MBA and adventures and Maverick 1000 and this incubator, and then, all these other things. And at the very center was sort of the core of what I've always been connected to at it's been now maybe 14 years, almost 15 years, where I asked a really simple question, which is, am I happy? Would I be happy doing what I'm doing 10 years from now? That was when I was in the digital marketing space, doing incredibly well, and even helping so many people. Like there wouldn't be any places I'd go to, a conference or any, I'd be speaking or not speaking, where someone would be like, oh my God, dude, you changed my life. I sell guitar lessons online now because of you, or whatever, that made me financially free. And it was incredibly rewarding. But that one question, am I happy? Would I be happy doing what I'm doing 10 years from now? It really, like when I got serious about it in my journal, the answer was no. And it started this whole process of like, okay, well, what would it look like? And so it started from these little 3 interconnected circles, the $, happy face, and heart, which is what we call Maverick DNA. And recently, a couple of years ago, we changed the $sign to be a tree to represent growth. So growing yourself and growing your business. But then the happy face is like, what do you love to do, and what feels like play and joy. And then the heart is the impact. So that's always been these interconnected pieces. And then, here's another illustration of like trying to figure out, how is it all interconnected? Like, how does it work? And this is like the map here at the bottom of like, each piece was, how do they all show up and connect to here? And then how are they like partially influenced over here? And how are they directly connected? It was, not exactly the easiest to understand. Got a little bit easier as I brought it down to 3. I think 3 is the magic number. And Sebastian and I have talked about this too. Like 3, the head, heart, higher purpose, the make more, have more fun, give more, but which then became growth, impact, and fun. So this is, this was about originally education. This was transformation. And these were ideas, like the idea factory or idea incubator. And then we had the 3s, which are the co-create, catalyze, and connect. So I've always think in threes, and then it got a little more distinctions a couple years ago, which was, kind of like what I was showing you, right? The soil at the very center of like, what do you care about? And so for us, it's these global impact issues, having 100 global impact issues that we can affect or impact in some way. And then the seeds were evolved enterprise. So thinking about 100,000 seeds to empower involved entrepreneurs, which was getting out the evolved enterprise concepts. And then it was these 1,000 suns, Maverick, 1,000 suns. And this is kind of an interesting point, which is 1,000 suns who can ignite 1,000 more suns. So my partner Sophia and I, business partner in Maverick, we've had a lot of sort of arguments, discussions around our Maverick suns. Are they suns who are lighting other suns? And we got to the point now where Mavericks are suns, and then there's other people that are suns lighting other suns, and there's kind of a unique distinction there too. And then the blooms of like, what are the, originally it was this idea fact, right? 10,000 ideas to change the world. And so I was really, really, really close. And then I had kind of another sort of distinction of like making it all come together. And I'll go through what some of these sort of concentric circles are, a couple of them anyway, to show you. But the latest is, again, the seeds, the suns, and the blooms, or I call them cosmic pies. But for me, I think in this meta perspective, which is the true cosmic vision, and I'll kind of show you how they all come together. But at the very core, this is where anyone can have this same sort of cosmic vision as a fractal, and or your ecoverse, whatever you want to call it, really. And at the very heart is your mission, and then around it, one of the concentric circles could be an impact icons or influencers or the councils that you want that are part of what you're doing, and then the seeds and the suns and the blooms. But I'm going to go through this a little bit more. So becoming a universe creator. So at the very center is like that wellspring of why, your soil, and then your councils or concentric circles. You can make it kind of as complicated as you want. You can have as many concentric circles as you want. And then the content and education are the seeds. The collective community are the suns, and the co-op projects. I like alliteration, so you got all C's here. So we're gonna go step by step, and this is the interactive part. And so I want you to start thinking about. We'll start with the why, because that really represents everything at this wellspring, like of what what are you doing, and why. So what is your wellspring of wisdom that you want to share out into the world? So it could be your greatest why, it could be your mission, it's this deepest cause. And so I'll give you a minute or two to, you probably have this already, but just to reflect on it, and just put it on a piece of paper somewhere. Right, like another 15 seconds or so. It's probably not a new question, but one that we continue to maybe refine and refine. So since it's great, we're a nice intimate group. It'd be great to hear from each of you what you came up with. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, this is just an opportunity for refinement, really, but it's so interesting. I love seeing your process, right? Because the refinements are like, ooh, yeah, it's just that little bit more clear and that little bit more right in sync every time you think about it. Um, so what's come through for me several times is like my deepest why is to raise the vibration of money from that of fear and control to unconditional love and joy.
I love that. Yeah, that's really nice.
And that my three that have come up kind of recently were helping or empowering people to save wisely, spend joyfully, and support generously.
That's really good. Yeah, you're way ahead of the game here. I love it.
I got the alliteration and everything, huh?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
the deepest cause, this came through pretty clearly just now as well, is to use the financial planning and education process as a space for inner healing and transformation that can then accelerate through impactful planning and giving, right? Because when we heal our money stories on the inside, we can then make better, more impactful financial decisions on the outside. So that's those three things together came through pretty
Awesome.
good.
I love it. Yeah, that's really cool. All right, Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely vibe with your sun side and suns piece, but I'd say my wellspring of wisdom is like I'm a world creator and teaching people to create worlds where like their experience they have a transformational experience just by stepping into that world.
Yeah, so for you, it's, and I haven't caught up with you in a little while, but the other thing is this wellspring of wisdom is sometimes it's amplifying others' wellspring of wisdom too. So if you're a world creator for others, then it's it could be also like helping them get their seeds of wisdom out into the world as well. So it's there's another layer to it.
Totally.
And it doesn't have to be like we show up as the as the guru and it's our training, education, media, whatever. Like it's beyond that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Sebastian, anything?
We should totally catch up.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sebastian, you got anything?
Yeah, so going through this process before, I had definitely had thoughts, of like race consciousness, global abundance, free 1 billion people, all these different things. But it's like the soil part just felt like go deeper, go deeper. And so what felt like from the soil right now is simply helping people follow their passion and live their art, and I feel like when we're doing that, a lot of the problems that society has falls away because we're happier, we're following our passion, we're more receptive, we're open, we know what it's like to put ourselves out there, so we're less judgmental. So yeah, it felt very grounded, very soil of just do that, and a lot of things unfold from there.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, mine has been this light 1,000 suns who get another 1,000 suns, and then beyond, and how that continues these ripples because it lights up everything. And so that next ring out are I think of them as our council, and again, you can have as many concentric circles as you want, but this has come to me recently, and I kind of changed it to represent the acronym of C, but I couldn't find the drawing for that. But this is cosmic consciousness. So here's our Earth, right? And then there's cosmic consciousness on the upper left, and then Earth, indigenous wisdom, and enterprise, which is business as this lever for greatest good, and then what I call magic. So health, wholeness, anything like that. And but that's kind of like at the very core of these four energies that I've connected to, of of people and energies, archetypes, and others that I want on my team. And so you can think about, one circle, and again, you can have multiple councils and multiple circles, but like, who are your sort of real and imaginary people, energies, anything that you want that are connected to your mission, and who's on there. You can think of it as like the Avengers. I've done a meditation before where I draw people into a place, and you can do this on your own, but you find the place that you absolutely love, and then you see like sort of who shows up on your council. It's a very interesting process too. I've had Jim Henson has been on my council. There's Barbara Marx Hubbard, who really helped create sort of this way of thinking about the world in these 12 categories. There's a lot. Some of my early marketing mentors also showed up, like when I have a cosmic copywriting council as well that I call on when I need some help on more of the marketing and cosmic copy related stuff. So you can have these multiple councils. So think of them as like advisors. And again, real or imaginary, right? So these can be your key allies and friends that you want. I have a wisdom council that I connect to for some of my deep work, and their role is to help keep me on track, to make sure that I'm in integrity with what I'm doing, and that we're also doing the greatest work that we could be doing, and working on key issues. So let's pull a card, and we're gonna see one of our allies that's at least connected to this council in some way. And let's see. Hold on. All right, so I need a number between 1 and 11, and let's see.
Hannah, you chose the card today. Tim, you want to take it?
Sure. 8.
8. All right, 1 second. Okay. 8. So star seed.
Same star that was in the middle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. So I'll read this for you, and then we're gonna see who kind of shows up on the council. So the attributes are entelechy, soul blueprint, seed, expansion, and gifts. The right seeds always bloom. Just as an acorn is blueprinted to grow into a mighty oak tree, you too carry the seed of the universe within you, ready to spring forth. The word entelechy means the fullest realization of a thing. And that's what you have within you. It's like your highest self guiding you to thrive in the greater mythic story unfolding. Your star seed has been planted, or more accurately, planeted here on Earth for a reason. Invoke your entelechy to hear more. So here's some potential questions to ask, and I'll throw this in the chat. But what have I been seeded to do? What else can I do to nourish and water my own star seed? What are the seeds I've already planted that are ready to spring forth? What is my role in the mythic story unfolding? What greater gifts can I activate now? What is my true home? Or where's my true home? How can I activate my cosmic DNA? So as you know, in your deck of cards, if you have, there's 11 of these cosmic Q&A cards. And so what you would do right now is just take a moment, and we're going to connect to your council. And so this star-seeded aspect can be an energy that can be on the council. It doesn't have to be. So think about like, who are maybe some advisors, again, real, quote unquote, imaginary, anyone that you want to bring forth that is going to help on this greater mission, on the greater mission of world creation, on the greater mission of reactivating what money can be, moving from fear to love. So I'll read a couple of the questions again. And so you can use either you can journal about this, or just close your eyes and connect to see what shows up. So what have I been seeded to do? What else can I do to nourish and water my own star seed? What are the seeds I've already planted that are ready to spring forth? What is my role in the mythic story unfolding? What greater gifts can I activate now? Where's my true home? And how can I activate my cosmic DNA? there's some star-seated allies that show up here in this council for you. They're, I think in terms of 12, it doesn't have to be 12. Sometimes it helps to think by category of, what would be on there.
Yeah, and I'd say too, a little sprinkle on top is if there's any resonance with the theme of the weekend, any extra insights, distinctions of releasing your art, putting your heart out so you can put your art out.
Be a mentor that you've had via books, via audios, via their training. People that you love, that you want to hang out more with, and that you just absolutely enjoy and know that they're part of something in a deeper way, that they're on your team. We don't have to have all of them figured out right now. It could be like another 30 seconds. Who wants to support you in this sort of mythic story that's unfolding? This 100% would be a great meditation and a great homework. All right. Let's see. We'll go. Sebastian, who you got? Anyone interesting pop up for you?
People who sing from their soul and people who speak from their soul. So right now it's really art is the top of mind thing. So people singing from their soul, I really resonate with that because you can see it happening live, and it's an area that I'm not too familiar with. So it feels like an explore assignment with that in mind.
Nice. Tim, anyone interesting come on board here?
I mean, all kinds of stuff. I've been doing a lot of what I'm describing as angel magic lately. And so there's a couple specific angels, Zadkiel and Metatron, that have just been like really heavy for me.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Well,
so yeah. And then there's a lot of people for sure. But
all right, Anna.
Oh yeah, I put some of them in the chat that were coming through for different kind of reasons. Some that are very financial, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
We're like, oh, that's weird. Like Frida Kahlo, but again, that's like that authentic expression, right?
Yeah.
I think through with that. And there's always a very strong connection to my higher self as well. That she / ball of energy is kind of always on the council.
Yeah. So there's so many ways of like thinking about this that it's almost like we could do like an entire day just on councils and how to connect to them. And And I really do think that there's multiple councils, and some are very specific based on certain things that we want to accomplish, and some are there to support us fully, for everything. Some are there like for particular kind of missions, and so if those four energies of like cosmic, earth, and enterprise and magic fit, then you could also be like, all right, well, who in those categories comes forth, because especially like for me, I connect so deeply to this cosmic consciousness, because I think that my mission, or a big part of it, is bring down cosmic coherence into the earth. And so a big part of my actual wisdom council is people that hold that earth and indigenous medicine. And they really help me with that part, and helping ground that in. And so they're a big key part of it. So there's, you could have, it's almost like board of advisors, right? Like, so you can have your spiritual board of it, your cosmic board of advisors, and you could have these meetings in your imagination. I mean, Napoleon Hill talked about that, and Think and Grow Rich, and his other work was, the mastermind group, where he'd have conversations with some of these titans of industries, and it was very interactive. It wasn't like him just sitting back and be like, oh, all right, what do you think? It's like a very engaging back and forth. I also am a big fan of like the back and forth writing with your non-dominant hand. So using your left hand and right hand. So if your dominant hand, your right hand, which for me, and then your non-dominant is your left hand. So I'll, bring forth a trusted advisor in my imagination, after meditating, and then have a conversation with them back and forth about, what do I need to know? And for me, it's this being of 1,000 suns, it's so interesting, and it's a longer story, but it's a cosmic sloth of 1,000 suns that I heard this whole cosmology in Costa Rica connected to cacao. And I was like, okay, it's really like this entire universe creator. And so I really connect deeply to that whole story and this cosmology. Yeah, Cebu. Yeah. And so so I'll have conversations back and forth, and I'll even have conversations with the universe back and forth. So, again, like, this is all however you want to do it, and these multiple concentric circles. So let's say, for you, Hannah, it's all about money, right? Like that, but utilizing money in this deeper way. So the advisors or the impact icons, might be some of the people that you put on here that are with us, and that they're part of it in some way. And even if you never talk to them, quote unquote, they can just be still advisors. But it'd be really interesting too to be thinking about, are there other partners who are, let's say, connected to maybe nonprofits or other key initiatives? And I think a lot in terms of like these impact icons, right? So Richard Branson has always been one of my biggest business heroes and mentors in that way, even before I met him, because I love the way that he just shows up in the world, and having interest in hundreds of businesses, the way he says yes to things, the adventures, the global impact that he looks to do, the way he has fun, and all of that. And so I think there's a reason that we're connected to these certain people, because at our highest level, this golden shadow aspect of ourselves is, it's connected to it. It's like us at our highest expression, we connect to these same attributes and archetypes that these people have as well. So in the, one concentric circle can be these impact icons. And so for us, we would have like impact icons. Obviously, Richard Branson would be on there, but then others who are connected to entrepreneurship and using entrepreneurship as this vehicle for making a difference in the world. So other nonprofits that we've supported for a long time, and so forth. So you can kind of build this out as deep and as wide as you want. So looking at those sort of circles. All right, so now we're gonna get to the seeds, which is actually kind of fun because we pulled the star seed card. So it's a perfect setup for, on the bottom right-hand side of the diagram is the seeds. And so this is out of the Cosmic Journal. It says the right seeds always bloom. So nature has already figured out multiple ways to seed the earth. Some seeds are covered in an appealing and sweet casing like a cherry, and animals and humans are drawn to them, and the seed gets planted far away. It's like a Trojan horse as it carries its progeny away from the first plant. And a plant is smart enough to know that seeds have more success further away. They may even be a good analogy for parents to ensure our seedlings don't grow up in our shadows. Help them find their own soil to bloom in. Seeds are smart. It just takes one acorn that is misplaced by a squirrel to grow into a mighty oak tree. And seeds are abundant and adaptive. And the cocklebur is like a Velcro attaching itself to animals for a free ride, or sometimes seeds are spread by the wind blowing. And I remember as a kid watching these helicopter seeds rain down around me, and then seeds are also spread by water. In fact, the coconut was designed to float in water for long periods of time, protecting the precious seeds inside, making its way on shore. And there's even seeds that lay dormant, waiting for a fire coming and raises the ground, and then the seeds sprout out of that destruction to bring new life. And so the symbolism here is definitely not subtle. So all these different ways that seeds bloom. And so the question is, what seeds are you planting? So how many different ways can your ideas spread? How to develop the incentives, the fruit for others to be attracted, that they'll spread easily? Or what ideas can be spread like Velcro and by fast movers and influencers? And like nature, your seeds can also sprout after destruction, rising from the ashes of failure. Perhaps like the seeds, we don't even need to attach which ones to the right seeds will bloom when we provide water and sunlight. And you are a galactic seed blooming. So think about right now, what are the seeds that you've planted already that are your main seeds? So this education or training or art or media or content. So think about a couple of them and just write those down. It should be fairly quick. It's already stuff that you're already doing. Not new seeds. We'll get to those as we are blooms. All right. Real fast. Any quick seeds here?
Yeah,
Go
real
ahead.
quickly, just training slides and memes that have been used. Yeah, it can definitely be shared.
Nice.
I've got an ultimate guide to building a membership site and made a new sales page, which feels like a seed. But
Nice.
One of mine is the money story meditation and turning that into a presentation and webinar.
Nice. All right. Hold on one second. I realize my computer's not plugged in. Give me one sec. Would have been very sad when you know where I went. All right. Yay, back. All right. Yeah. For me, it's really around there's three things: the cosmic, evolved, and maverick. And so cosmic are the journal and the cards as seeds, and then evolved is the framework for evolved enterprise, and then maverick is it's actually maverick DNA. It's the little DNA, the three interconnected circles of growth, impact, and fun. All right, so now we'll get to the suns. So catalyze the cosmos to light 1,000 suns who can light 1,000 more suns. And this is from the Bhagavad Gita. It says 1,000 suns were to rise in the heavens at the same time. The blaze of their light would resemble the splendor of the Supreme Spirit. And this was an interesting, well, I'll show you the cartoon first. And
I
did you have
think we're still
something?
on the seed slide.
Thank you.
Yep. Nice.
All right, here we go. Yeah, there you go. Catalyze the cosmos to light 1,000 suns. He can light 1,000 more suns. So that's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita. And here's your little cartoon doodle for this, which is: once upon a time there was a starseed planet here. That's pretty funny since we pulled that card, or more accurately, planeted here in the ultimate joint venture between the universe and Earth cosmos and the Earth. If you haven't guessed it yet, that's you. So that light can never go out. Sometimes it feels like it could, but a cosmic alarm clock always goes off at the right time. And then once that light is lit again, you can light other lights, and a light can only grow brighter by lighting another and another and another. A light can light another in so many ways, but maybe none better than teaching, aka planting seeds, like we were just talking about. So teaching about your success and your failures to other entrepreneurs and leaders who can impact the world through business or whatever way they can. And so you think about, all right, I could be a lighthouse back to my community or peers or an industry. Then you start thinking about, all right, where's the leverage or the multiplication or the unique opportunity or empowerment? And there's an even brighter light that's revealed because you're able to see your next evolutionary turn by sharing that, because it opens up new space to illuminate even brighter still. And then so there's Cebu here, and it says, and then as a being of 1,000 suns, lighting 1,000 suns, you become this true universe co-creator. And I always think that there's also these things that are happening all along the way that are kind of pushing us, nudging us forward. So these signs and symbols, even lyrics or random conversations, could be numbers, could be these activations. So synchronicity and magic for sure. Like when you have these synchronicities, that to me is like always the kind of like the language of the universe, of especially of our true path and purpose and our dharma. And whatever also brings you inspiration or energy or joy, like that playful aspect, and definitely around art, that art typically brings that forth. So this other aspect of, this is 1,000 suns who are lighting another 1,000 suns. And I think of this as kind of like the big meta picture. And, so where are sort of your own, what category are you claiming? What industry do you want to disrupt? What group can you gather? What collective of leaders can make a difference in the world right now? So, and they're all interconnected, which is all part of the big cosmic vision. So the cosmic alarm clock. So this is me. So I told you 14 years ago, I had that question: would I be happy doing what I'm doing 10 years from now? And the answer was no, which then became Maverick. And which I didn't tell you, though, was at the very start of it was, it just wasn't working. And about $400,000 in, my wife's like, what the hell are you doing? And I didn't have a very good question. And I felt like, there's something big here. I don't understand what it was exactly. I really think like following your heart is never wrong, but frequently scary. And, before that time, I had 7 or 8 projects, all hit the 7-figure mark without really trying much, just, following my intuition. And this was like such a deep sort of passion, and I couldn't figure it out. And it was, so in the midst of as sort of sideways as I possibly could, where I had to really go back to like ground zero of all the personal growth and transformation work I've studied for probably 2 or 3 decades. I used my left hand, and I asked, what would my 111-year-old self tell me? And it was light 1,000 suns who have the capacity to each light 1,000 more. And so that's really where it came from. Changed the name to Maverick 1,000, really stepped more into this evolutionary growth for the entrepreneurs and the deeper purpose and mission, which was change the way business is played. And that's when things really started working. So what does lighting 1,000 suns mean to you? That's your question. Or even, who are those 1,000 suns?
And for this one, I think put yours in the chat. I feel like it's powerful to have this in the running dialogue.
Yeah, great. Sorry, Sebastian says 1,000 sons, purpose-driven creators and teachers. Tim Wolf, 1,000 transformational communities. And again, this is, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. It's within our lifetimes, or it could be, it could be in a month, could be in a year, but lighting up 1,000 entrepreneurs to save wisely, spend joyfully, support generously. I love that. That is great. All right. So here's a couple other like statements from when I've shared this 1,000 sons aspect before, so you can see some examples. One that I want to highlight at the bottom is Naya, who you're working with, Sebastian, which is great. She's one of the Maverick members, and I've worked with her, and we had this big breakthrough where she's in the real estate world and had been coaching real estate entrepreneurs, and then she's like, yeah, I really want these 1,000 grateful families that can utilize essentially real estate as their wealth building mechanism to then impact the world and show up and especially impact their families. And there might even be some distinctions now that I know you've got her into as well.
So cool to see this, because that's something that been coming back to and coming back to throughout the work is the family part. She's a mom first, and we say it now in every part of the marketing, because that's who she is. And that's what truly, as she went on this journey with you, that's what came up is, yes, you can make the money, yes, you can do these things, but what really mattered most to her was the family impact. So it's so cool there to see the 1,000. It's not even grateful people, it's 1,000 grateful families.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what does that mean? Yeah, it's really exciting. So then the last part is our infinite blooms. That's the top of our cosmic vision. So we got our seeds, suns, and then the blooms. And the blooms are, again, the ideas, the things that are kind of like nudging at us right now, the things that we're excited by, that we want to co-create together, maybe with others, the things that are just like, coming forth, that are just like these, if we had the magic. I always think about the genie lamp, right? Like I've been thinking about this since I was a kid, probably since I heard the story, and like, and you get the 3 wishes, but for me, the number one wish is always like, yeah, I want unlimited wishes so that I could, just keep creating ideas that get out into the world. And what would that look like? So these infinite blooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to use your non-dominant hand for this one. And so just shake out your hands and grab a pen, and so just write down, whatever's coming to you, whatever feels exciting. It might be something that's completely out there. It could be something that you've been thinking about for a while. It doesn't really matter, but just come up with a bunch of them, see what gets you really juiced up right now. Use their non-dominant hand. Just write. Don't worry if you can't totally read it. So less thinking, just more writing, and it might feel like kindergarten, kind of trying to figure out which way the E moves and so forth. But just see what comes forth, or even if you want to, you can doodle it or make a symbol for it. Whatever comes to you. theme has been art. Maybe there's something around your art that could be one of these blooms. All right, like 30 more seconds. All right, good job. So go ahead and put your pen down. And we're not going to share yet, but I just want you to close your eyes. So get in a comfortable spot. Sit up straight. We'll do a little mini visualization just on this entire thing here. So close your eyes. You want to stretch a little bit, wiggle out whatever feel so you can feel comfortable. This will only be a couple moments. All right, so sit up straight and let's take a big breath in from your belly. And exhale. And one more big breath in. And exhale. And one more big breath in. And exhale. So I want you to picture the black void, black space. Starting to see a few lights of stars in the distance, but mostly just black. It's beautiful and incredible. And as you're sort of flying and traveling through this black void and the stars as your backdrop, you see a little blue, green, beautiful looking marble. And its beauty really attracts you. So you start zooming in a little bit, and you see that that's Earth. And this is, you've decided that, hey, you're going to take a little trip here, a little journey. And so you zoom in even further, and this is where you're planeted here on Earth. So there's a reason that you came down. You knew that there's a specific time and place that was this beautiful shift point that was happening. And the Earth called you, you called to the Earth, and there's a deep mission. So if you just connect to your mission right now, whatever came up for you as you're writing, or maybe there's a new distinction for you, and just feel that in your heart. And that's where the star-seated aspect of yourself is, that entelechy. And so that's connected to just that deep purpose and mission. And then from there, you can imagine the first concentric circle, which is your guides and allies, that invisible council, anyone that you've already connected to, and maybe there's someone else now that's coming forth. those energies and archetypes. You can maybe see their faces. You don't have to see their faces. You could see colors. You could see symbols representing it. It doesn't really matter right now, but you can just feel that again and feel the strength and the power that it gives you, and the assurance that you're not here alone, that you're not just doing it by yourself, that you're guided every step of the way. And just take that in a little bit more. Breathe that in. And now think about the seeds that you've already planted and that you will be planting. To just connect to all the content and the media and the training and all the things that you've done, or the seeds that you're spreading and helping others with, and how that's connected to this deep mission and purpose. And just like seeds have their own intelligence, you don't have to know how and which ones are gonna grow. Your job is to just plant those seeds. Just takes away the pressure from you having to exactly figure it all out. So just think about those seeds that you've already planted. Maybe there's a smile that gets on your face from, when you feel like you've put out some of your best work, and so much more yet to come, which are more of those seeds. And now I want you to connect to the suns that you're lighting, the community that you're building, or communities, the ripples of impact that they can have, why it gets you so excited, and how you know that those suns will be nourishing those seeds. Maybe there's one particular face of someone that you're serving that comes to you. Maybe it's a collective of the 1,000 suns, whatever it is. And just sit there, let that come to you. Just open up your heart even more to those 1,000 suns, because your heart is that light of 1,000 suns. And now from those seeds blooming, move up to those blooms, those infinite blooms, as I call them, the cosmic pies, the blooms that are baked into pies. And think about some of the people maybe that you want to work with and that you enjoy playing with and collaborating with. Some of those ideas that came to you just now. Maybe there's something else coming to you. Feel into that excitement and that joy and the enthusiasm and the inspiration. That's one of our best indicators. Something just feels like our art or our play. And now I just want you to zoom out a little bit more from that, and you can just see how they're all interconnected, how each of those are interconnected with each other. And then imagine even just this little tiny group that we have here, which is still so powerful. Each of us have our own little ecoverse and cosmic vision, and then how we're able to support each other from the connections that we have, or the unique capabilities that we're connected to, the channels, even the capital, the causes that we jointly care about, and how all these little 1-degree connections can then expand and accelerate and amplify our own cosmic vision. And then when they're connected to even more others that have their own cosmic vision, and what that looks like this whole unique mycelium network of 1,000 suns lighting 1,000 suns, and what that even looks like. These beautiful silver threads that are connecting all of them, and that connect us together to everyone else that feels this unique time and space of being of service and connecting here. And where it really just feels like play, to play fully, purposefully, profitfully. Just take that in a little bit. Breathe that in. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Have that vision that just remains in your heart. And so we're gonna play a little bit with your cosmic vision. And we created some slides that look like this. And so you have an opportunity to just put down seeds, suns, blooms on these slides. And you have the link handy.
Yes.
I got it too.
Everybody has their slide, just like we've done in the past with our mission, vision, values slide. So you should be able to navigate to yours.
Yeah.
And then we can all edit it
Yeah.
live.
So what I want you, yeah. So what I want you to do is go into your slide. Find it. Well, you'll see your face. You'll recognize your slide by your face, and just add your seeds and suns and blooms. And I have an example one there for you.
Oh, nice.
Let's see my example. Let's see, Sebastian's doing his. Tim's working on his. There you go. Look at that. The magic of collaboration. You'll hear that.
Oh yeah, hearing that now a little bit.
Fun to see everyone adding their stuff. Anonymous raccoon. You don't have to have 3, but for the blooms, try and get, 2 or 3 for sure. Stuff that's really lighting you up right now that you're excited by for what's next. And even like the sun's like, that could be one group of 1,000. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Nice, it's coming together.
Nice, Sebastian, you got your billion.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's been in my mind, well, for a long time, is how to get to the billion. And then I was listening to a podcast where a person was, Sean Puri was saying, like, likes to simplify it down into, 1,000 of this and 1,000 of that equals, whichever. So he had a couple examples, and that made me think about that: 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. So it's interesting that you literally have that here of 1,000 suns with 3 spots. So I don't know how that third one happens, but the framework is looking like it's there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't fathom reaching 8 billion people, and that's not, I think, my work, but it's the 1,000 suns who have their own 1,000 suns, which then have their next ripple of 1,000. Like, that's exciting for me. That's where I get really, really, really excited. All right, let's share. Oops, not that one. There we go. Hold on. All right. Can you see this one? You see Sebastian? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with Hannah. So we already talked about each of these. Let's talk about the blooms. Just super briefly, like, just give us the pitch on the blooms that you're excited by, and then maybe any potential help that you might need. We'll give you 2 minutes for that.
So as I was writing with my left hand with the blooms, especially that really came through with all the speaking that I want to do. I already have a podcast, but have connections to TV and radio and stages. And that money story Maven came up, like, oh, that's funny. Okay, so we'll put that on there for now. That might be the core message that people can connect to easily. right? That connects to money, but that also connects to my heart-centeredness, and going through that process. So building out the expansive CEO community is another big one that's starting to, the seeds, they're like, the sprouts are starting to like push up through the soil, and a TED Talk and a book. Those are the few that are, things are culminating.
Nice. Well, so I like this little game where, obviously if you're already in this group, then so there's this aspect of being a playmate, partner, or patron. And so if anyone has, any unique kind of connections for Hannah, obviously already playmates, but and just supporting. But if there's any partners or any even, patron, like, are there ways of capitalizing some of these where it makes sense? So I don't know if anyone has any unique connections that would make sense here for any of those, for TED Talks or the Money Story Maven or the podcasting.
Yeah, I feel like as you do the webinars that you have scheduled with the Money Story meditation, how you're weaving that with the focus of feeling, with the promise, feel at peace with your finances, business finances, personal finances. So it feels like that's really clicking in. And I feel like when you're ready to do your public webinar, I think we can think of people who would get a lot of value from that. And yeah, inviting them to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of JV like connections that are JV partners that I've never had anything like, I don't know, just not like, I didn't have a program. So people, oh, okay, well, like, well, now I have a program. So it's a little different, versus just the one-on-one work, that I
Are
do.
each of the times that you do an episode, is there a different meditation each time?
No, I haven't done that on the podcast. Ooh, that would be interesting. Have I talked about it? I've talked about a lot of stuff on my podcast, but I don't think I've gone through the meditation.
No.
Yeah, there's something there that's kind of interesting, especially like a money, or even like a money story meditation. Because you have that as your seed. Like, that to me is a really that's got some energy behind it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's catching on.
Mm-hmm.
People are intrigued.
Yeah, I like that.
I just had a funny
nice.
idea for juxtaposition between MSM for mainstream media and your money story.
And money story. Yeah. All right, Tim, give us the quick 2-minute pitch on any of your blooms that you're excited by.
So I guess I didn't say 1,000 or anything. I just started listing current sons, I guess.
That's all right.
So
1,000 was originally, you said 1,000 like world creators, right? Was that the?
Yep. Yeah. 1,000 community creator, transformational community creators.
I guess so. So we'll just put them under here. That's cool. Oops. Sebastian, you can help me clean this up here.
Yeah, I can get there and fix it.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, and then proceeds just like all the education stuff I'm starting to do. Ultimate guide to build a membership platform, stuff that's I've already done and built, like our human-centered academy design framework. And I mean, honestly, too, we have a whole platform and stack of technology tools I didn't put on here. But and then
Share about the blooms. That's anything that you're like excited by that you want to see come out next, or maybe that you need a little help on.
Yeah, we got I guess my next thing that we're kind of launching is which actually I put this under seeds, I guess, like a sales page, but it's really a bloom, I guess. But we're launching a program to like teach people how to like teach the tech person on someone's team so that they can actually build and support these communities at a deeper level. We're also building some software tools and stuff like that I am excited about, and kind of giving job stability for these things, and each of these community creators are really transformational communities that are supporting Ascension. And in some way, I think of them as like a bunch of Ascension schools, which is just cool to think about.
Yeah, I like that for sure. And, especially when you start, bringing them together in some way as well, the
Right.
mycelium networks of the threads, the way that they can support each other.
Mhm.
That's where it gets really, really exciting too.
Totally. Yeah.
Nice. Anything else? Anything that you need some help on?
I mean, the next big step for me is this program where we're teaching people uh, tech things. The tech person on their team, teaching them to, or whoever can be in charge of tech on their team, just like training them. So that's the big next step for us. So any connections and stuff like that is great.
Yeah,
Or feedback on my sales pitch is also great.
all right, Sebastian, any quick thoughts on your blooms here?
On the blooms, yeah, the third one really feels like just starting to scratch the surface of a deep value, which is the partner collaboration. So everybody's aligned, purpose driven, impact oriented, focused, following their passions. So it feels like just starting to interweave um, the collaboration between them and the communities.
Yeah, well, it's a cool breakthrough too to see that 1 billion free and following their passion as part of the sons and how that can come together.
Right.
Yeah. Anything that you need a little help on?
I would just say, I mean, what I'm just really excited about is I just really feel the YouTube energy, and I'm feeling it for myself. And then I know as I systematize that, it's going to be like a conveyor belt for all of the partners that, feels right for. So I feel the excitement building, and I'm also focusing on like, all right, let's close out and complete the certain pieces first, so I don't put the cart ahead of the horse. Yeah. So I mean, just if there's any excitement or insights on YouTube and like a person's own content going through, I mean, I'm really excited to talk about that right now.
Cool. All right. So I had mine done, and then I added a fourth one. But what I'm mostly excited by, I call it this like Trojan horse for cosmic consciousness, like especially around art and artifacts and just all sorts of ways, and even helping train others. So the project Sebastian and I are working on is this Cosmic Catalyst collab for coaches or consultants or community leaders, and utilizing the cards and the journaling and all these aspects of cosmic connection and cosmic creativity and cosmic vision to then apply it in their own ways, which then creates effortless referrals essentially for the people that are in there. And then for me, I look at it as like this unique sort of ulterior motive of like the distribution channel of getting out more cosmic consciousness through the people that they're reaching and sharing. And then there's also going to be a way of getting more of my art and artwork and artifacts out for that. And then the 1,000 Heroes, it's kind of a business in a box. It's like taking those 100 global issues in some way and then creating businesses in a box that are directly impactful for that key issue. And so I'm excited by that. And that's out of our nonprofit. And so that's starting to sort of come together. And then I put the last thing I randomly put down was this Evil Schemes for Global Good, which is like the Zoom puppet show. It's like the Muppets meet Shark Tank, meet Whose Line Is It Anyway? And just how do we like brainstorm unique business ideas for good, but with a lot of random puppets as well. So Evil Schemes for Global Good, and we'll see where that goes. But they're all kind of all interconnected in this whole. For me, when I think about the blooms, are all around this Trojan horse for cosmic consciousness. So that's what I'm most intrigued by. And
What is
I guess
the
the thing that
acronym?
I could use.
What is the
What's
acronym?
that? Oh yeah, the acronym for EVIL, evolutionary, visionary, impactful legacy.
Right. Yeah.
So everything is a little bit tongue in cheek as well, and having some fun with it. And maybe the most where I could use help is if there's anyone that has their own groups or unique coaches that really connect to this idea that they're here for for growing cosmic consciousness or any kind of higher consciousness that they hear about what we're doing with the Cosmic Collab. I think it's going to be really, really unique, really fun and cool, and just like a way of also continuing to experiment with all of these, like this program itself, the Cosmic Vision Workshop, so that others could deliver something like this to their own group. All right, so I'll wrap up here. All right. So, the spiral, we talked about that with the way that time can work, but also this evolutionary turn. So all of us are on this evolutionary turn, and it requires usually letting go of something to make that next leap up, so that we can be of bigger service and what that looks like. And so that's where those seeds really come into play, because it's like that teaching or sharing, because then we can open up more space for what's next for us and how to have more leverage. And this is one of my favorite books. I keep going back to it. It's super well known. It's a guy named Itzhak Bentov, A Brief Tour of Higher Consciousness, where this is like our universe, and then it's in a series of 49 other universes. And then it's like these little, this crystalline structure of that they're all sort of bubbled on top of each other. And then even more so. And so he talks about one of the good things about the system is the system wants to teach you about itself. So if you're an artist, it teaches you in art, it teaches you in engineering aspects if you're an engineer. So it's like the universe wants to teach us. And then he thinks of it in this way, where there's like all these universes that are waiting for the highest level of consciousness to come in and take over certain consciousnesses. So it's like this entire mega multi-universe. It's worth checking out. The other thing I love is like these fractals, right? Like, so this is what this cosmic sort of web looks like, and then our human brain, this neural network, looks pretty much exactly the same. We have these different scales of fractals, and so this is this beautiful aspect where one change really changes something else. So if this is Indra's net, which is a Hindu philosophy, like that the entire system is in relation to itself, and one change reflects in the entire system. So us making a change in ourselves also reflects society or even the world, and then also everything else as well. So and then how do we connect in this mycelium network of these other universes, and our ways of the thousand suns lighting another thousand suns, and everyone having their own cosmic vision, but then connecting, and then having like these levers that we can turn based on the capabilities that we have within our networks, or the causes, the connections, all those things that we kind of talked about. Here we go again, back down to our little simple fractal of our seeds and our suns and our blooms, and then it can expand from there of this entire cosmic vision where it's all interconnected. So that is the cosmic vision.
Boom.
There you go.
The organic path to effortless impact.
Yeah, I mean that whole structure, again, I've been feeling into this for a long time, and to me, that entire structure of the seeds and the suns and the blooms, like, it's something that I literally can see in my entire lifetime just playing in that. Like, you can't grow bored with that, because you're always going to have more blooms that are coming out. You're going to have and it's going to inform other ways of being. And then when you start matching them together with others, like, that, it's also really exciting. You start mapping what are their unique, like, and within their network of 1,000 suns, what do they have in their network of unique capabilities and channels for leverage and distribution, and then the causes that they care about, or the capital, and then also the unique connections that they have. So it's really fascinating to start playing around with that, and Tim, to get your mind on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely already been thinking about stuff like that a lot. So. But I definitely have. It's early, still early.
It's all coming together. Yeah, everyone has a part of this beautiful sort of cosmic mosaic to play in, and I love that the theme has been art, because I really do feel like art is that way of expressing our unique gift, and then also, like, whatever gets us excited, right? Those the blooms, like whichever ones are the most exciting and that we're enthusiastic about. There's something about them, even if they don't make sometimes logical sense, because they might not fit into the business model that we've already figured out. But like, the Cosmic Journal is a perfect example of that. It just really started as me finding this art challenge for 100 days, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but I'm going to do 108 days, and I'm just going to do it for myself, and then like I think it's like this incredible sort of thing that has now expanded out already, and there's so many other ways that it's going to go. So it's these continual seeds, and I never would have followed it or pursued it if I completely looked at it as just logical.
I love thinking about how blooms are the part of the plant that drops more seeds too. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're all these beautiful byproducts that then show up. So, when we experiment or put things out, then we're going to see what takes on the energy of, something happening, and we're going to see results, and yeah, it's going to inform the next seed.
Mm-hmm. I really, really liked the what was the full name of the business? It was the Ann Arbor, Michigan one, Zing Train.
Zingerman's, yeah.
Zingerman's.
Zingerman's Community of Businesses, ZCOB.
Yeah, it's just so, I mean, like for me and the Walt Disney sketch too, I'm like, I feel like that's what I've been trying to map out between my two companies. And then like all the other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like that totally makes sense to me. How to have a cohesive, this idea of the personal brand in front of the other pieces, right? Like they are cohesive, and here's how, but here's my fun, crazy map so you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and showing how they work, and then so there's also a concept of these startup studios or venture studios, and what they use is they'll have their shared services, like we talked about with Zingerman's. So shared services of tech or marketing or personnel or legal, all different things, and then they'll take their ideas, which are the blooms, and then the ones that actually start taking hold, they'll spin those off as key projects or whatever, and so that the shared services will support them, and then they'll put them out.
I love that. Oh, I forgot to write one down too.
Yeah, I really love how it's so expanded, like it's so expanded and interweaving, and then it always can come back to the three.
Yeah, the little fractal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's one other item. Yeah, I think it's just so special because for me, I feel like it's such a unique approach. It's complete opposite of the usual, you know, approach that's very forced. So I feel like it's so cool to see. I feel like a sponge. You just sponge up the organic approach because so many times, yeah, we look back and we can see it in hindsight, but it's like, all right, let's tap into that now. So I like that, yeah, three approach.
Cool. I appreciate it. Any questions or other thoughts?
Just a thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
My
for
pleasure.
sharing the time.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I love it. It's really fun because to me these are experiments, and then I get informed about what's working, how to express it better, how to then make it hopefully modular that others in our Cosmic Catalyst collaboratory can actually use them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, in terms of like experimenting and collaborating stuff, what I find it's so easy for visionaries, futuristic, myself included, to get so far in the future or so overwhelmed, or different things are so like, there's all these things, and this is like for 50 years from now, or this is from 5 years from now, or like this is 5 months from now. And so, yeah, I really feel that centering back in. And I just saw like it'd be cool to have like a plaque or something, or a little desk item, because I could see that being as an anchor of like, if it ever seems like there's a lot going on, or like, where does it all fit? It's like, oh, let me just go back here. And in that picture, let's see here, I'll just put it up right here. It's like a physical representation of, okay, like where does this idea fit? Maybe it's a seed or maybe it's a bloom, that helps clarify right there. And then it's like, oh, what council is it on or what part there? So I feel like it's a great thing to, clarify and then also bring a sense of peace and focus.
Yeah, and a time frame, right? So if we use this cosmic vision, it could be a 3-year one, it could be a 10-year one, it could be a lifetime one. So it all depends on how far you want to expand it out. But yeah, I again, like I feel like this is a playground I can continue like literally living in for forever, because it's such a great way of playing around. But then you do want to see like, all right, well, I have this idea, like where's it fit, or where can it go? And how do I bring myself back to what do I really want to do, and who am I serving, and how?
Yeah, it's like where, when, and who for that idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, anyone else that has, any other input or whatever, I'm always happy to share. And Hannah, great meeting you, and love the messaging and the mission that you're on. And Tim, always great seeing you. Sebastian, thanks for letting me come out here and play a little bit.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you. And yeah, let's give some big love to Yanik as a send out. I don't know, however it feels right for you. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, appreciate it.
All right, take care.